This video will be an analysis of the guitar and bass parts that are present during the pre-choruses of the song. A tab sheet of each respective part will briefly be displayed at the end of its analysis. A brief demo of all parts combined will be featured at the end of the video. The tuning used in this video and on the record is standard E and 440 wavelength calibration. Guitar 1 is going to follow a 1 measure long riff pattern that gets played 4 times. We're going to start out playing a D5 power chord. That's where the first finger is on the G string at the 2nd fret and the third finger is on the B string at the 3rd fret. The open D string will be played along with these to create the chord. On 1, we're going to strum the chord downwards and let it ring out as an 8th note. On the and beat right after 1, we're going to pick the open D string downwards as a 16th note. And on the beat, which is the final 16th note of the first quarter, we're going to pick the B string upwards. This is what we have so far for the first measure. 1 and a. Okay, now we've reached the second quarter of the measure. We're going to play 4 more 16th notes counted 2 E and a. What we'll do is lift that first finger and we're going to leave the third finger locked exactly where it is for the rest of this riff. The middle finger will go to the A string on the 3rd fret. We'll pick this down on 2. On the E beat, we're going to go to the B string and pick it up. On the and beat, we'll go back to the middle finger on the A string and pick it down. On the beat, which is the final 16th note of the second quarter, we'll go to the first finger on the A string at the 2nd fret and pick this up. With the 4 count lead in, here's what we have for the first half of the measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2 E and a. Now notice as I do that, I'm letting the notes ring together. And now we've reached the 3 beat of the riff pattern we've been going through. The first finger should still be on the B note, which is on the A string at the 2nd fret. This note will actually be tied to a 16th note on the 3 beat. On the E beat, which is the 16th right after that, we'll go to the B string and pick that upwards. Okay, on the and beat, we're going to go with the middle finger back to the A string at the 3rd fret and pick that down. This rings out as an 8th note. With the 4 count lead in, this is what we have so far for our riff pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 E and a E and. Okay, to finish up the measure, or our riff pattern, we're going to let that note sustain out through 4, which is a 16th note. You know, where the middle finger is. And we'll play 3 more 16th notes, counted E and a, picked up and down, and then up. And that will be between the B string, the A string, and back to the B string. Our fingers are already in position. So with the 4 count lead in, this is what the riff pattern will sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 E and a, E and, E and a. Let's run through all 4 measures in sequence just one time. I won't count aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4 count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just going to play this measure 4 times as indicated by the repeat signs highlighted in yellow at the beginning and ending of the measure. Guitar 2 is going to follow 4 measures. We're going to start out playing a standard D major chord. The first quarter of the first measure is going to be 3 notes. The first is an 8th note followed by 2 16th notes, counted 1 and a, picked down, down, up. just like this. 1 and a. On 2, we're going to play a C9 power chord. Notice the third finger will stay locked exactly where it is as I lift the other two fingers. The pinky goes to the high E string on the 3rd fret. The middle finger goes to the A string on the 3rd fret. And the first finger goes to the D string on the 2nd fret. We're going to play 2 notes on this chord. Okay, this will be an 8th and a 16th picked down and down, counted 2 and on the beat, which is the final 16th note right after that, we're going to leave the 3rd and 4th fingers locked exactly where they're at. We'll lift the first 2 fingers and go where the middle finger is on the low E string at the 3rd fret. And the first finger is on the A string at the 2nd fret. This is a standard G major chord. Okay, we'll pick this up. So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the first half of the measure sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2 and a. Okay, now we're going to let that sustain out through 3. On E, which is the 16th note right after 3, we'll pick this chord up one more time. On the and beat, we're going to go back to the C9 chord. Notice once again that I'm leaving the 3rd and 4th fingers locked as I do that. Only the first 2 fingers move. Okay, when we get to that position, we're going to pick that down on the and beat and let that sustain out through 4. So with the 4-count lead in, let's do what we have so far in the first measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2, E and. Okay, now what we're going to do to finish up the measure is play 3 more 16th notes on that chord, picked up, down, up, counted E and A. So with the 4-count lead in, this is the entire first measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2, E and A. We're going to play that 3 times. So let's do that with the 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2, E and a 1 and a 2, E and a 1 and a 2, E and a. And now we have reached the 4th measure. This is pretty much going to be exactly the same as the previous measures that we repeated 3 times. The only thing that will differ here is the last quarter of the measure. When we get to the C9 chord on the and beat after 3, we're not going to let it sustain out through 4 in this measure. We're going to strum it downwards and let it ring out as an 8th note, followed by 2 16th notes counted and a, picked down then up. So with the 4-count lead in, this is what the 4th measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and a 2, E and 4 and a. Just like that. Now let's run through all 4 measures in sequence just one time. I won't count this aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to play the first measure 3 times, as indicated by the repeat sign at the beginning and the ending of the measure. And on the 4th measure, we're just going to skip down to the 2nd measure below. The bass line is going to follow 4 measures. We're going to begin by placing the pinky on the A string at the 5th fret. This is a D note. The first 3 notes in the first quarter of the first measure are going to be counted 1 and a, picked down, down, up. What this is an 8th note followed by 2 16th notes. On 2, we're going to go with the middle finger to the 3rd fret on that same string. We're going to pick this note twice, pick down and up. What that is an 8th note followed by a 16th note. We're going to count that 2 and on the beat, which is the final 16th note of that 2nd quarter, we're going to go with the 1st finger to the A string, same string at the 2nd fret, and pick that up. And that's going to be tied to a 16th note on 3. So with the 4 count lead in, this is what the first measure sounds like so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2 E and. Okay, now all 4 measures are going to follow that pattern to a degree, but the ending of them is what's going to be different. So on the E beat, right after 3, we're going to go back with the middle finger to the 3rd fret on that same string, pick this up and let it ring out as the 16th note. On the and beat, right after that, we'll go back to the 1st finger on that same string at the 2nd fret and pick it down. Okay, so this is what we have so far with the 4 count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2 E and. Now to finish up the first measure, we're going to play 4 16th notes counted 4 E and a, pick down, up. Okay, we're going to pick the middle finger, that note again, right where it is on 4, down. On the E beat, that's an upstroke. The pinky is going to go to the A string at the 5th fret. On the and beat, the middle finger is going to go to the D string on the 3rd fret. That's picked down. And on the beat, to finish up the measure, we'll pick up with the 3rd finger going to the D string at the 4th fret. So with the 4 count lead in, this is what the first measure will sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2 E and 4 E and up. And now we've reached the second measure. We're going to begin on the E beat right after 3. What we're going to do to finish up this measure is play 7 16th notes counted E and a 4 E and a, picked up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, the first of these will be with the pinky on the A string at the 5th fret. That'll be an upstroke on E. The and beat will be with the middle finger going to the low E on the 3rd fret. That's a downbeat, pick down. And the beat will be the open A string. So these last 3 16th notes are just like this. And okay, and to finish up the measure, we got 4 more 16th notes to go, counted 4 E and a, pick down, up, down, up. Okay, the first 2 of these notes, the 4 E, will be with the 1st finger on the A string at the 2nd fret. On the and beat, we'll go with the middle finger to that same string at the 3rd fret. And we'll finish up on the beat by going with the 3rd finger to the 4th fret on that same string. So the last 7 16th notes to finish up this measure are like this. And a 4 E and a. Okay, so with a 4 count lead in, let's do the first 2 measures in sequence just one time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and a 2 E and 4 E and a 1 and a 2 E and a 4 E and a. The third measure is actually an exact repeat of the first measure. So we're going to skip ahead to the 4th measure. The 4th measure will be played exactly like the 1st and 3rd measures, right up until its last quarter. Instead of doing the fill at the end, like we did at the end of the 1st and 3rd measures, we're going to do something different. We're going to place the pinky on the A string at the 5th fret, and pick this note down on 4 and let it ring out as an 8th note. On the and beat, we're going to go with the middle finger to the 3rd fret on that same string and pick it down. This will ring out as a 16th note. To finish up the measure, we're going to hammer on with the pinky back to the 5th fret on that same string. This note isn't picked. This is sounded entirely by the left hand, and this is the beat. So with a 4-count lead in, this is what the 4th measure is going to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 in a 2 E in, 4 in a. Let's run through all 4 measures in sequence just one time. I won't count aloud as I play. I'm just going to give you the 4-count lead in. 1, 2, 3, 4. The pre-chorus will appear twice in the song. The first appearance will be at 48 seconds. The second appearance will be at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. In total, we have 4 measures here. What we're going to do is play through the first 2 measures until we reach the highlighted repeat sign at the end of the second measure. That will send us back to the repeat sign at the beginning of the first measure. Notice the highlighted one above the second measure and the bar above it. That indicates the first ending. On the second pass through, we're going to ignore that ending and go from the first measure directly to what appears to be the third measure below with the highlighted 2 above it. That's the second ending.